Howdy, friends. This will be the last in our series on the Beatitudes as we've been kind of walking through how all of these things look. And so this last piece is an extension of yesterday's about being persecuted for righteousness' sake. You're going to recognize it if you don't already know the part 2 of what Jesus talked about. But it goes like this. When Jesus saw the crowds, he went up to the mountain, and after he sat down, his disciples came to him. Then he began to speak, and he taught them, saying, "Blessed are you when people revile you and persecute you and utter all kinds of evil against you falsely on my account. Rejoice and be glad, for your reward is great in heaven. For the same way they persecuted the prophets who were before you." Jesus tells the disciples that when they are doing the work that they are called to do, when they are doing the work that they have been created to do, loving God, loving neighbor, doing all they can to take care of the widow, the orphan, the stranger in the land, taking care of the least of these, all of these things, that life doesn't necessarily become easy. Life is not going to be a cakewalk or anything like it when, in fact, you're doing the hard work of building God's kingdom up. And his response to them is, you will be blessed. He doesn't say happy. You will be blessed in this work because that is the work that has been done before you with the life of the prophets. So let's just pause for a second. You can think of some quick prophet names. The highlight prophets are probably like Isaiah, Ezekiel, Elijah, Elisha, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Amos, one of the fun ones, right? These are the prophets who came before the people and said to the people, the way you're living is not the way God has called you to do. You're taking away things from people. You're not living in an equitable life or one that cares for God's creation. And bad things happened. And the Israelites, Hebrew people, explained away what was happening because they didn't listen to the prophet's warnings, things like this. And Jesus says, if you're doing the work like the prophets did, people are not going to want to hear what you have to say because it disrupts the status quo. You will be persecuted, you will be attacked, you will be slandered when you are doing things for the kingdom. Now, just because you're being persecuted, attacked, slandered, whatnot, does not mean you're doing something for the kingdom. There are a lot of people in this world who keep talking about how they're being prosecuted and picked on. And some of the times it's true, most of the time it's not. Basically, if you're white and you're complaining that you're being persecuted, you're not, because you're white. That's how it works, period. Now, if you're a person of color, that's a whole different story because, in fact, there are lots of ways that the system has been set up to persecute you intentionally and by law. You wouldn't have people like John Lewis with MLK, among others, screaming and calling out, saying this is not right if it were not the case. But Jesus tells his disciples, his listeners, his followers, that if they're going to do this work, to expect a hard road. If they're going to do this work, it's going to cause problems. If you're going to do this work, the treasure you seek is not in the here and now. It's not in acclamations and not in titles and not in rewards or things like this, but it is that which comes next. It's that building relationship with God, that relationship that is bigger and better than anything we can imagine. So I would encourage you as we think about the end of the Beatitudes, as you move into the weekend and beyond, as the month of July closes up, think about all the ways that you are blessed, but also think about all the ways that you can be a blessing to others. You've heard me say it lots of times, that we are blessed to be a blessing. If you take it seriously, what are the ways that you are pouring out those blessings onto a people in need? Have a wonderful weekend, and we'll talk to y'all soon.